Welcome to my episode of bone broth family recipe. Today I also have Charlene here, the dietitian.
Hello, I'm here for the bone broth demonstration. I'm very interested in bone broth as well.
She was actually in our previous salad recipe as well.
Yes.
So she will be coming here often and share her expertise as a dietitian and the nutrients that some of her patients are having and why they should be having those.
Yeah.
So today, bone broth. So what I use is actually chicken feet and pork bone. And I find that chicken feet has a lot of collagen and also have very less fat because there's actually not a lot of fat in chicken feet.
Nice.
And as women in your 50, you need to have firm, tight skin.
As I was saying to Helen before, there's actually some studies now showing that there is some immune boosting benefits from bone broth. And even though collagen is not a complete protein, and if you're truly after protein, you should really add some meat or other types of protein in there. The soup itself actually can help people heal faster after illness or surgery or flus and colds. And so there's quite a bit more benefit to it than I had originally thought years ago.
Low in calories.
Low in calories.
Right.
It fills you up.
Yes, fill you up. And water.
And water.
Water content is very important.
It's hydration. It's a source of hydration.
Yeah.
And for the elderly, sometimes they don't drink enough water because their taste buds and thirst buds are not very active.
Oh my God!
Chicken feet. And what I do is I normally put in boiling water. Boiling water so I can wash all the dirty stuff, blood and all the film surrounding the meat. I already have a piece of chicken here, whole chicken bone I put here earlier. So what I do is I put the chicken feet as well and put it here, and then of course bone right here at the same time. So make sure all the bones are sort of like clean with boiling water. So make sure the water is boiling and you put the meat here. So it could go faster, wash all the blood coming out of the meat. And then after that you transfer into a pot where you're going to cook the meat for 3 hours.
And how long would you wash the meat for once it's boiling?
I like it when the meat no longer have blood coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, all the color sort of cooked, just the skin. It's actually is not really, unless you're cooking chicken using chicken breast without the bone. But when you use bone, it's okay to cook a few minutes longer to wash all the dirty stuff from the meat. But if you just cook, if you're using chicken breast, I wouldn't recommend that because all the flavors come out.
That's right. So would you say 5 to 10 minutes then for that amount of?
I would say depends how much meat is in here. So make sure it's boiled. Make sure you can see like this one, right? It's all like done. Yeah. Right. Done. You can transfer over to the pot. All right.
I see.
So and these ones are not done. You can tell the color. Oh, you can color change.
Right. So you want it to look cooked on the surface.
Yeah. Wash it all. Okay. Cook the chicken feet first. Blanch it in hot water, and then we'll transfer it to this big pot right here with celery, with garlic, with onion to give it some flavor. So later on you can drink this broth by itself with some onion and salt, or use the broth to make other types of soup.
But what you're saying is, you know, you're adding garlic and celery, and sometimes I do add some onions.
Yeah, onions here too. Onion celery, just we smell it. It's really nice, eh?
Yes. It's making me want to have pho for some reason.
So later on, you can actually, ladies, use this broth for any kind of recipe. Chicken noodle soup, instead of using water, which has basically no nutrients. And for elderly people, the soup can actually all the nutrients in soup can absorb into your body fast.
They've done studies on bone broth where they measure the number of days it takes to get over a flu or cold, it actually did reduce the number of days. So it is kind of subtle, but bone broth apparently enhances immunities so that your body can fight the foreign viruses and bacteria. So I used to think bone broth, there's nothing in there, don't waste your time. But now that studies are coming out saying there's actually subtle benefits to it, and so I'm all for it. And it feels great to have it. Makes the body feel good.
Well, it's been a family recipe. Not just this recipe, but many different versions of soup. I can either put ginger or Chinese herb.
The Asians actually do really well is they make you drink soup in the beginning of the meal instead of at the end. It actually gives you satiety and modulates your appetite. So I think that's super smart.
Telling your brain there's food already, because if you don't have anything, sometimes you eat 2 bowls of rice and you still don't feel that you ate anything.
Did you know it takes 20 minutes for your brain to register that you're full?
Really?
So if you just keep eating, by the time 20 minutes pass, you will be over full. There is actually a method where you eat and then you talk and eat slowly. You're letting your body know that food is actually there, because the body doesn't work that fast. That's how people overeat. If you eat too fast and you never talk and you never drink soup, you don't have anything to break it up, then you will eat double the amount of what you normally eat. I'm curious, Helen, do you leave it on high or low, or how long do you boil this concoction for?
If I turn on the heat too high, it will spill over. I would turn a little bit lower. And if I have half the ingredient, I would turn high.
I see.
Yeah.
So you don't want it to boil over, but you want to keep it as high as you can for a little while.
Yeah, and then make sure it's simmer right now, and maybe cook at least for 3 hours. If you put on high heat, maybe less. But how do you know it's ready? It's because when the meat are soft, so soft that you can actually break the bone by stirring the pot.
Oh.
Okay. And like, for example, the meat will separate from the bone. You can put carrot too, and many different flavors. I would call it Canadian style. But you can use it for anything. When you take out the soup, you can just eat it with vegetable or chicken, or sometimes I put avocado and squeeze some lemon juice. This Mexican.
Oh wow!
It's basically a healthy water.
So 3 hours, and you initially have it on high, and then maybe more moderate, medium, simmer-ish.
Right. Just a few hours, right? When it's done, and you pour the broth into a container where you're going to hold the broth, and you put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then the next day, you will see the fat on top. Then you scrape the fat out, and then you use whatever's underneath the fat. So that means there will be hardly any saturated fat.
Excellent. Excellent. That's very good. Well, bone broth has lots of minerals, and as we have mentioned before, it's got collagen. It doesn't actually have whole protein per se. For that, you'll actually have to eat the meat. I guess what I'm saying is you can't depend on bone broth to give you actual protein. Collagen is an incomplete protein. That's good for, lots of other things. It's kind of like gelatin, but it doesn't actually build muscles or generate cells. Yeah, so one of the misconceptions for a lot of my Asian patients is they thought that bone broth would give their elderly parents that are in the hospital protein, but it doesn't. It gives them soothing qualities, like the studies I've cited, but it doesn't actually give them protein. So if you have any elderly parents that are undergoing surgery and they need to heal their surgical wounds by having lots of protein, make sure you have meat in the bone broth, so that you get double the benefits.
Can you explain the amino acid?
Basic cell of protein is an amino acid. Carbohydrate, if you break it up, the basic cell is a glucose. It's a single simple sugar. So amino acid and glucose or fructose, they're single. But if you bind them together and make a chain, then it becomes a carbohydrate. If you bind galactose and glucose together, you get lactose. And for amino acid, if you put several amino acids together and it becomes like meat, then that is a complete chain, complete protein. But some of the protein that you will get from vegetarian sources that are non-animal tends to be incomplete.
Okay.
So, for example, if you just eat beans, beans are incomplete, or collagen is incomplete. Let's say instead of having 30 to make a muscle, they only have 28 or 29.
I see.
So it will just get digested by the body.
Okay.
It still has calories,
Okay.
but it just cannot form muscles or hair
Interesting.
or skin cells or blood cells.
Okay, here we go. 3 hours after simmer, here you see all the bones are basically here, all done. You can not even hardly see the chicken feet. So all you need is the liquid here. The liquid drain through a colander or something that separates the meat and the bone and the liquid. Put in the refrigerator overnight. The next day you will be able to see the saturated fat.
Thank you for making this delicious soup for us.
So that's my episode on bone broth making recipe here. And so thank you so much again for watching. If you like, please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Nuts when the bass go boom, 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 boom.